Hi, this is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord & Richards. And once again, I'm glad to be with you today talking about matters concerning financial independence. And in a prior segment, we talked about the biblical principle of not being the borrower, but rather being the lender. But today we're going to also in this segment talk about advice for home buyers. We're going to talk about current trends in real estate and whether or not now is a good time to be purchasing a home. You know, that's important in the context of a complete, comprehensive financial plan. And that's what we're doing at Lord & Richards for people every day just like you. Recently, I read an article on Realtor.com that admitted we might see some price decline, but buyers shouldn't expect much. In other words, don't be too concerned about that. Stay in the market. Unfortunately, that take on the situation is heavily biased by realtors who want to make a living and want you out there in the market purchasing real estate. It is also designed to capitalize on what we call FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Oh man, now the prices have actually gone up. But it doesn't match the reality on the ground. What I want to talk to you about is what's going on in the new home area. Because if you're looking at existing homes, they are a lagging indicator. New homes are a leading indicator for existing homes. What do you mean? Well, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine, right? The first to die. The rest of the housing market ultimately follows along what is occurring in the brand new home building world. When new home sales sneeze, the rest of the market, the existing home sale market, gets a cold. So in a recent article, a headline from the National Association of Home Builders, we learned that buyer traffic is slowing down, so much so that they called it weak. As consumers, as home buyers, potential home buyers are remaining on the sidelines. Why is that? Well, we got a couple factors. We got high mortgage rates. We got home prices that are putting a new home purchase out of financial reach for most households, okay? So the current market is what we call weak, and it is softening. Over 50% of builders are using incentives to try to make sales happen or to reduce cancellations. That's something we wouldn't have even thought of 6 months ago, a year ago, right? When you were in a bidding war on existing homes and you were often paying more than the price that was listed. So we're seeing mortgage rate buy downs. What's that, Colin? Well, that's when the builder will actually throw in money to get your rate a little lower. Makes your payment a little bit more attractive. This is also happening on existing home sales. How about some free amenities, right? Let's upgrade that countertop. Let's put in a nicer tile or wood floor. That's being thrown in. And then about a quarter of builders have begun to reduce their price on their new home inventory. That is a bad sign for the housing market. Why is that? Well, because when they start reducing those prices, that's going to spill over. Some of you may remember back to 2007 during what we call the housing bust, right? New homes stopped being made, or those that were on the market were drastically reduced. Existing homes started going into foreclosure, which put further downward pressure on the housing market. These guys who are building, they've got to sell that inventory. They can't afford to leave it locked up and not moving. This is going to bleed over into existing home sales. Now, we had a head fake for mortgage rates this summer. They dipped slightly below 5%. Suddenly, everybody's excited. Oh, my payments are going to be okay. But now they've roared back over 6%. The national average just hit 6.42% on 30-year mortgage. That's huge. As a matter of fact, they gave this a name, holy moly mortgage rates, based on what potential homebuyers say when they see their payment. Okay, holy moly mortgage rates. The National Association of Home Builders has a housing market confidence index that they do together with Wells Fargo for single-family home builders. That has dropped to 46. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, compare it to where it stood, maybe about a year ago at 90+%. It's been slashed in half. Last time we saw it like this was in May of 2006, right before the housing bust unfolded. And now in the West, it's not just 90% to 46. In the West, where we live, it's dropped to 34. Meanwhile, prospective buyers, that's also tracked, and they have an index, and it plummeted from the high 70s to now 31. Again, matching up to the months leading up to the 2007 housing bust. You say, Colin, are we going to have another housing bust? I do not know. But one thing I do know, this is a challenging time to buy a home and not get your clock cleaned on the other end if we do go through a serious price decline. We're seeing a lot of data and statistics indicating that we have similar situation to the year or the months leading up to the last housing bust in 2007. Current sales have dropped every month for the last 7 months, and the index for future sales has dropped to its lowest rate since 2012. And here's another bad sign. 1 out of every 5 deals is canceling. Get that? Canceling. Buyer's remorse. And in the Southwest, 1 out of every 3. As a result, you can imagine these home builders, people are pulling back. The confidence in those who invest in home builder companies has eroded. And now we've seen a 30 to 45% drop, depending on which company we're looking at, just this year. 30 to 45% in confidence in our home builders in buying their stock. Here's the point. Don't pull out your wallet right now. Put your wallet back in your pocket and wait for prices and rates to drop. This is not yet the market that you want to buy in. You say, well, what if prices don't drop as much? Well, what have you lost out on? You know, you've taken a little bit more time. We're entering into the winter when prices traditionally drop. People's kids are back to school. Why not wait and see? That's my advice here at Lord and Richards. You say, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, potentially you could buy a home, discover in the next year or two that you need now to turn around and sell it due to a job move or other type of reason, and potentially take a serious cut, a loss of equity. It's been a long time since we've seen people upside down in their mortgages. But having walked people through this, back through the 2007, 8, and 9 debacle, I can tell you it is a place you do not want to be, because that's when foreclosures start to happen. People can't get rid of their home because they can't pay off their mortgage. So folks, we here at Lord & Richards are helping folks with practical areas of financial planning, not just investments, although that's critically important to your financial plan, but also critical deals that could cost you or earn you tens of thousands of dollars based on your timing. We want to be a help. We want to be an encouragement. We want to be a source of counsel to you here at Lord & Richards. That's why we're helping people just like you every single day to get retired and stay retired through a financial independence roadmap. That's our word for a comprehensive financial plan that'll help you have the assurance and the confidence that you are financially ready to get retired, or if you're already retired, you have the wherewithal to stay that way. It just starts with a simple conversation.